Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This one we'll be testing out this neat uh, Oracle system. Now, this is a system created that has a bunch of tables, and it's great for solo play because it has this hex map. It even has this variation. There's several documents you can download. This is from Perplexing Ruins. That's the creator, Perplexing Ruins, and you can find it on itch. Now, the this specific document they can download. There are various other versions. I talked about this one before. I've used it before actually. There's a dungeon one which has dungeon generation on the left here. There's one like this with a blank slate without this character sheet. I'm using the one that has the character sheet because this character sheet kind of sits in line with Maze Rats, which is becoming a favorite of mine, and also looks like it can work pretty well with Karen. So I've already generated a character. That way I don't have to run through that with you guys. And I'm going to try to use these oracles on top of the oracles on the back, but obviously in line with Maze Rat standards. So the other challenge I'm going to be trying here, and I do have Maze Rats to my left here off camera. I have my rules book. Is not necessarily oracle here. I'll be using my standard 2D6 oracle with advantage roll or disadvantage. I'll be using I would not be taking notes on the small things, on anything as far as the characters or as far as my player character doing things. I will be tracking. If this does turn into a multiple episode, an episodic uh, journey, then it may be. But for now, this is starting off as a casual. For now, I haven't really considered it yet, but it gives you on the backside, it gives you locations and NPCs and threads, notes, quests, etc. So anything, of value, I will be putting in their respective columns here. Now, um, one thing I also want to try, another challenge, is lighter on the narrative. What I want to do is focus on the journey and on the adventure. I don't want to go too deep on the narrative or the lore of certain things. I just want to explore this hex map in this video as far as I can go and see which hex consists of what as we explore. Okay, so to start, let's say our character. Oh yeah, right. I've introduced a character. Character name is Florian. No coins because in Maze Rats it doesn't really you don't start out with any currency of sorts. But I'm not too worried about right now. He has a +2 in strength. He has a +1 dexterity and 0 will. That's just based on what I rolled in the randomizer, not the ones where you can kind of awkwardly choose values on a table. But basically, his armor totals up to 8 because of the shield and light armor. He has 4 health, which is the standard for the game. And then he has a short sword, 2 daggers, light armor, shield. He is a only background I rolled based on the traits was called table 8, which is roll or create a background. And I rolled. He's a housebreaker, so he's broken into homes and he knows how to pick locks. He's a thief. The background isn't really supposed to affect much in the mechanics, but it's really up to the GM, who is me, and it really more affects deciding what the player character knows or what contacts are based on what it says in the rules. So it's up to GM discretion. As far as my feature, I wrote that right here. I am a rare born tracking, foraging, and survival. I chose that one because I felt like this was going to be more out in the wild compared to a dungeon per se. So my starting items, I have grappling hook, I have 3 lock picks, 3 medicine, rope, torch, and rations. I thought try to pick the ones that work best universally in the open or in the wild. Now, let's go ahead and start the actual adventure in this test game. If it expands, which occurs often in my videos, it might do so. All right, so first the explore die. We can either explore first or we can build the terrain. Let's build the terrain first. So We're rolling for the very top left, or actually, I'm sorry, bottom left, closest to me. Three. So we're in the hills, and because I'm not taking notes, this video, my voice will be the notes essentially. So we have hills here. We're exploring the hills. Our character Florian is exploring the hills. Let's roll to see if there is any weather at the moment. So that is a condition up here in the top right corner. Let's roll to one. So there is no weather. It is sunny skies out. Now, is it nighttime or is it daytime? Let's do red is night, blue is day. I'm going to say, well, we'll see actually. It's nighttime, so my torch is obviously going to be coming in handy. So it's nighttime right now. We're in the hills, no weather, it's clear skies, moonlight shining on our character, and we're in the hills. Now, because we're exploring, let's roll an explore die, which is the top left table right from what you look at. And then if you roll anything here, then you refer to this bottom section for the result. I'm hoping for something. Four. Okay, an omen. The omen we're going to find is the bottom left, the first table here. Our character Florian finds the following omen. Five. He hears a voice. Okay, so the voice is going to be, there is, I think, a section for the voice. I believe it's on the back side. We could do reaction. That's actually very intriguing. So we hear a voice in the hills. Let's explore the tables a bit. So we have descriptions. We have characters, which we can use when we roll a character NPC. We have magical items, special items, mundane items. I love the items in this list. It's a D66 roll. You have a quests here for generating quests. So I'm more I'm going to more roll on the top right for the voice. Now the voice is going to be I'm doing I'm going to do, let's say, I'm rolling 2d6s. So let's say the first roll, I'm going to do 1d6. 1 through 2 is the first table, 2 through 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, essentially. Okay, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3. It's going to the middle row, the middle column, 6. It's a big voice, okay? So very big voice. It's going to be, we hear something, our character hears something, a character hears a big voice. Is this voice a potential danger? Let's see if it's going to cause a problem for us. I'm going to roll the danger table here, and it is an unnatural entity. We hear a voice, a very big, strong voice coming from the northeast. And it is, do we recognize the voice? Does our character, let's roll a wisdom check, which would be willpower, so we have no bonus. Does our character recognize the voice? Like, is it common or is it going to be another language? It's an unnatural voice, but most likely does not. So I'm going to put a high threshold on that, a 10. We have to roll a 10 or higher, which is the basic, that is a danger roll. That is the basic value for maze rats, but I do fudge that at times. So look at the rules here off camera. Yeah, 10 is usually the difficulty. And I roll an 8, so can't we can't quite make up what the voice is saying, but it sounds like a very large, very spooky voice. So our character, obviously, we didn't run into any threats initially here. We're gonna go northeast in the next column over, the next hex over. Okay, so new terrain, we have to roll d6, and that's a 1. It's the same. It's gonna be hills, and then explorer die will be rolled next. We could roll water. Ooh, a danger. Okay, that does make sense because we obviously heard a voice. The danger is going to be, let's roll for the danger. 4. It's going to be a hazard. Okay, so we're running into a hazard. There is a column for hazards. It's right here, if you can see it. I hope you guys can see with the camera I'm using. The hazard is going to be a 5. A 5 is going to be resources. Okay, now what are the resources going to be based on? We run into some resources here in this tile. So, I'm wondering what those resources will be. I'm thinking that we step into a abandoned, or not an abandoned, but an unoccupied camp site because we didn't roll anything as far as there being anyone there. But resources kind of makes me think it's some kind of man-made settlement. So let's say there is a campsite we stumbled upon. I'm looking through the tables here to see what I can evolve that off of, but if it's a campsite and our character is a housebreaker, then he's tempted to actually, loot this. So there is a campsite. Let's make a number here. We need to add this as a location and we need to figure out a system. So I'm going to pause the video and I'll go from there. Okay, guys, I'm back. I made a legend, or I made um, I don't know, a number for each row and then letters for each column. So this is going to be 28B is going to be a campsite. And like I said, I'm going to be light on the narrative, so I'm not going to go too much into detail. If it's well, we're going to build on it a little bit, but 28B is a campsite. Okay, that's going to be that. So the campsite we have to roll. Florian is concerned if this is unoccupied that there's no one there. And initially there's no one there, at least he thinks. He's walking up to the campsite. I'm going to roll to figure out if there is anyone at the campsite. I'm going to say unlikely because we didn't roll any danger. So I will do a sum roll for the winner. And 5, 6, 7 against 4. So there is no one there. It's probably been unoccupied for a couple of hours. So whoever has been at this campsite is obviously out and about this time of night. So let's put these dice back. So we're going to, because again, it's a danger, but it's resources. I'm trying to figure out how could I interpret a hazard which calls it resources. Would it be, I'm thinking camp. That's really it. So this kind of leads us to an advantage, and we're going to loot to see what's around. Are there any, we can ask the Oracle, are there any crates, any tents, any uh, bins or weapons or chests. So let's roll. Is there anything of value on this in this campsite? And that is I rolled likely, obviously, and it is. So 6, 7, 8 to a 4, or even a 5 to 4. There is um I'm gonna do the highest roll, which is 5. There's only a few things. There's only a couple of items. So let's roll for which one it would be. Now I'm gonna say we'll do the same thing from before. We'll choose a row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for these three, just to make it more random. So 1, it'll be a mundane item. So it's 2d6. We'll roll on this whole entire mundane item list. And 63 is going to be antidote vial. Interesting. Okay. So an antidote vial. Write that down in our inventory. We find an antidote vial. So there's an antidote inside of it. And do we find anything else? I'm going to say unlikely. So I will do 1d6, or I'll do 3d6 with the advantage of red. And we find something, but it's a mundane item. I'm going to say it's something that's partially used because I rolled an equal. So let's roll for the mundane list one more time. Okay. And I got a 14 based on their positions. 14 is going to be lock picks, but they are broken. There's only one good one, so that adds an extra lock pick to mine, and the rest were pretty disregardable. So we tossed them aside. And while we're doing that, let's see what can happen. Now, for events, we have discoveries, we have dangers, we have the other backside here for, let's see. Okay, so I think the campsite is still abandoned. Now, our character is going to look around. Does he see anything? Let's roll. Does he see anything in the immediate area? He's getting a little worried. It's late night. He does see something. Okay, so it's a small notice. Let's go to the descriptors, and we'll say we'll do two dice. So blue is for the column, red is for the row for the option. So four will be. I'm sorry, well, I forgot what I. Let's do it again. I totally forgot what I said. Blue is for the column. Okay, so one. So it'll be this first one, six. Rough. We hear some rough noises, or we spot something rough. Okay, so let's do one more roll on that one. Let's do one more roll. Rough. I want to build something together with two options. So five would be this one here. Two would be empty. Oh, let's say we see a wagon. Uh, I'll put a little campsite icon here too. I forgot to put a little icon. There we go. Triangle is a camp. Let's say we see a wagon and it looks roughed up. There are arrows pierced it. There are like burnt marks. Like it kind of looks like it was attacked or raided, and it was specifically just this wagon off to the side of the campsite. We're looking around it, and there's arrows sticking into it. It looks like it's been pillaged or attacked. While the campsite overall looks like it's been mostly looted. So my character Florian is thinking this place has been picked already. Whoever's here now, is there any dead bodies around this wagon? We say likely there is. So, oh, there's not. Okay, there's no dead bodies. Is there anything of value, or is there anything to loot in the wagon? Oh, there's not. This wagon has been picked, so it's just arrows and a burnt wagon. Okay, so we're gonna go to. Let's explore the next hex to the bottom right, southeast of the. Let's see what kind of terrain it is first. So new terrain. One, it is the same. Okay, that makes sense. We have hills. Okay. Explore die, which is the first top left table. Five, discovery. Okay, so something a little different. We discover something. It's gonna be right here on this discovery table. Five, we discover evidence. Okay, this does kind of lead up to something from before. This evidence discoveries. Let's see. We have a couple of, oh, evidence. There's an evidence list right here. I do like the connected table method. Okay, four, the evidence is going to be tools. Okay, so we find tools in this hex. I'm going to say we find a pouch that's been cut off. So the pouch is kind of like a sling, but the part that goes over your shoulder, the sling part, has been cut off. So it's just a pouch. And there are tools. There's a crowbar, there's perhaps a few hammers and etc. items. So let's see if we can find these kind of tools. Uh, we're going to loop the bag. Let's roll the 2d6. Yeah, I'm going to say it's a mundane item. Oh, 41 is going to be a necklace. Interesting. We find a necklace. So that might actually have value. We find a necklace, and we obviously don't necessarily need the tools. We're going to put them down. We have lockpicks as it is. And with the discovery of this, it's all adding up. But again, I didn't want to go too heavy on lore, but it makes sense that there's been some kind of attack on this campsite by something. And I haven't really dove into when this story takes place, if it takes place in the Wild West, because now I'm thinking like cowboys and Indians, the whole that whole movie stereotype, or this is fantasy and there is going to be creatures, kobolds, uh, goblins, bandits attacking each other. It really depends on how far we go with this test run, and it matters. It depends if we run into. I mean, these columns are built for it probably can't be Wild West because I'm just thinking outside the box here, but I'm realizing that all the items we've drawn so far, the character, this is fantasy. So we'll stick with fantasy. I was just thinking like in the future, I think Wild West might be an intriguing concept to take on an RPG. I know there are RPG engines out there tailored for Wild West. That'll be I know I grew up watching Wild West movies from time to time with my with my dad, so I think that would be kind of fun to take on that kind of role play. But in any event, we find a pouch and we realize that there's been something happened in this area, but that's not really. We don't want to dive too much into that. We want to keep moving. So we're gonna go now. Our character is going to go to northeast. He's going to go next hex over. This hex is going to have. We're doing a new terrain. 6. Okay, new terrain. So we run into a change in terrain. Let's roll for the new terrain. 3. Oh, it's gonna be more hills again. Okay, so we're still in the hills. I'm gonna say it's a blend of hills and fields because I rolled new. I don't want to be too I don't want it to be too not consistent but repetitive. So let's do the explore die. We're kind of getting to the edge of the hills here. Nothing. We don't find anything in this hex. There is nothing to worry about. There's nothing to run in. So now we're gonna go north. And remember, this kind of blend of hills and the grasslands. So let's roll a new terrain die. 3 is going to be the same. Yep. So kind of fields mixed with hills, or the hills at least have um, a high grass mix of grasslands and hills. Let's do explore die. 6, danger. Okay, we run into danger in this hex right here, which is 26D. Okay, so let's roll the danger die and see what it is. Is it going to be an unnatural entity, hazard, or hostile? Hoping for hostile. It's going to be a hazard, and the hazard will be up here, right? Going to be, where is hazard? Here it is. Dangerous hazards. Okay, I think we've rolled this before. I mean, we land on the most boring one, which is resources, unless I misread that one. A landslide. Okay, that does make sense. So while we are walking, we hit a landslide, we step on a rock, and it pushes down the ground. It's just a weak spot in the sand, and we go rolling down, trying to catch ourselves. So we have to do that dexterity save with +1 to catch ourselves. We were going for, I didn't really get a difficulty, so let's just follow the 10-1. That's going to be 7 total +1, but we are not able to catch ourselves. That's a danger roll. So, um, though we do have survival as a brainborn, I kind of think if that would have an advantage roll. Survival is part of, I'm going to say it is. I'm going to roll one more die to see if it helps at all. Ooh, it does. Okay, so I kind of made that work there because I think it says, I'm checking the rules here again. I have it off camera. Um, Danger rolls, when possible, PC's action should be resolved by simply describing it, but if there's a danger, obviously 2D. If the GM describes how it goes wrong, add the amount. If one character takes an action against another, advantage. If it is reduced due to the path, preparation, of situational factors, I'm a survivor, obviously. Advantage is a 3D, and you use the two highest dice. Well, we have the highest dice there, and plus a modifier of +1, so that's a 7, 8, 9, 10. And there we go. We catch ourselves, but we literally catch ourselves at the last minute. So there's a fall, there's a cliffside, makes sense, grasslands, uh, hills, and we catch ourselves. We grab onto a root, and we're gonna try to pull ourselves up with a strength check, and this will be a 10. So we have +2 on strength. I like this. I really like it a lot. 6. Oh, that's a perfect. We pull ourselves perfectly. Plus, that's a 14. So we easily pour ourselves up with no problem. Like we just kind of grab the root, pour ourselves up, and now we're okay. So we survived that. We didn't lose any HP, and with a little advantage, we made it work out. Okay, so now we're going to now we're going to go explore. I want to explore all these hexes that are kind of in this general area. We're going to go this way, southwest, towards back to camp. Let's do a terrain die. Okay, it's going to be new actually. All right, what's going to be in this new hex? 5. Swamp. Okay, swamp is going to be interesting to draw. So let's draw some water with plants sticking out. Trying to see if that swamp would be like that. It's just like this little swamp is in the middle of the hillsides. It's like a little a canyon. So let's do an explore die. What do we find in the swamp? 2, nothing. Just it's just a swamp. Okay, so we'll go north. Okay, new terrain. 1. It is the same, so it's still a swamp. Okay, so we'll do this. A little tree sticking out, like a dead tree, some grass. All right, explore die. What do we run into? 2. We run into nothing. Once again, nothing happens. Okay, let's go to left, bottom left, southwest. All right, new terrain. 3 is going to be the same. Some more swamps. So it looks like we're hitting some swamplands. So some trees, some grass, and explore die. Let's give a little more throw to this one here. 5. Finally, something. Discovery. Our discovery will be, okay, 6. Passive. Something passive. I don't roll that one often. Okay. Passive will be possibly an NPC animal. It's right over here. Okay, let's roll passive. What do we find? Ooh, 3. A merchant. There's a merchant in the swamp. That's intriguing. Okay, the merchant. All right, that's really interesting. I don't know if he's like a traveling merchant. I'm trying to find merchants here. Yep, it's one of the character types. Merchant. What is his traits? So let's figure some details about the merchant. Financial. Let's see how he is financially. Does he look like he's relatively wealthy looking too? He's poor. Okay, so he's a traveling merchant. He's poor. Um, let's see his race. He is going to be a dwarf. Okay, so and let's figure out a name for him. And maybe we can make him an NPC. Or is it dwarf merchant? I don't think really that's worthy of an NPC. Let's figure out what his deal is. Is he selling? His method, interest, motivation. I'm thinking there was a spot here. What does he sell? I'm trying to figure out what he can sell. I thought I saw something that would have what he does, what he sells. Let's say he does. Uh, so he's poor. Maybe he's desperate to sell things. Does he sell? Let's use these tables here, and then. All right, I have an idea. 1, he sells mundane items. Okay, so he's poor. He just business is not good. We walk up to him and ask him, well, we don't have any gold. That's a problem. There's no gold in this game. I can go the Karen route and just give us gold just to have some fun with this. But if I'm trying to find my Karen system here, Karen is 3d6, I think. Yeah, it's 3d6 for gold. So let's just do that. We'll do 3d6 for gold. That will give our character something to spend. Or we can sell. Well, it's four. He probably wouldn't buy. We can trade. So we have 11, 12 gold pieces. Okay. Just giving myself, the GM is just giving character. Whoops, that looks like it's, we'll just do coins. There we go. Okay. So, oh, and I will put an experience. This sheet has experiences on it. I'm not too sure. That's not really Maze Rat method, but I'll use that. Just we'll level up when we hit the next. We'll fill all those in after the little incident with the hill. That gives us an experience. So the NPC, we go up to him, and he's a poor merchant. He's traveling, probably stuck in the mud. Oh, he's stuck in the mud. He's stuck in a swamp, and he asks for our help. So uh, we help him, and we're going to try to push his wagon out of the swamp. Like maybe they just on, he got stuck in his wheels, got stuck, and he's just too weak. He's an old man, or whatever. We're going to push him with a strength check, and it will be +2 bonus on this roll. That's a 5, a 6, 7, 8, 9. It's not enough to push him out because of the 10 difficulty, but because it is a housebreaker, I'm going to cheat again. I'm going to say it gives us an advantage. So if I deem it necessary, where's Housebreaker? Housebreaker, or I'm sorry, not Housebreaker, Brareborn, tracking, forging, survival. I'm trying to figure out if that would have an effect on this roll. Tracking, forging, survival. Survival, we used it before for the cliff. That was considered survival. This one, like brute strength, I don't think so. So we can't get his wagon out. It is stuck in there. I don't have anything to leverage it. I don't have a like a spear or some kind of big stick. I'm gonna look for a branch because we're in a swamp. Are there any branches? I'm gonna say there is. Are there any branches nearby to put like to work as leverage? Let's see. All right, that is indeed there is a branch. So we find I'm using the six as a reference as an advantage roll. We find a branch. It's a pretty big one. We rip it off a tree and we're gonna stick it underneath the back of the wagon and push down on it to get his wagon up. So we're gonna try again with the strength check, but this time I'm gonna do advantage because we have the stick, which is considered part of survival. So I'm rolling same difficulty of 10. I do feel like moving that difficulty down now. Let's move it down to 8. So the two highest rolls +2 because of strength. So 6, 7, 8. It's obviously +2 on that. So it's gonna be a 10. We hit 10 anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. All right, we get his wagon out, and he kind of stumbles forward. The wagon gets pushed out, and he's back on the soft swamp uh, ground, out of the mud and out of the water. So he is probably thanking us for the help, and he's going to offer us something out of his goods. And we didn't really expect him to give us any gold, so he gives us a mundane item. So we'll do a 2d6 for this. 6-2. Now, 62. That's going to be healing herbs. Interesting. So he's like, I have a few healing herbs. Here you go. That's really all I can give you. So it gives us healing herbs. There we go. Now, is this experience worthy? Probably not. I don't think it's as dangerous as the from before. So we part ways. We wish him good luck, and we're going to now go. I want to explore this hex right here. So we'll do a new terrain die. 4. That's the same, so it's more swamp. Put little trees here. There we go. Okay, let's do explore die now. I'm sorry, that was a terrain die. Now we do the explore die. 2, nothing. There's just more swamp. Okay, so let's go now north. We'll do a terrain die. 5. 5 is new. Okay, let's roll to see what's new about this terrain. 2. Woods. Okay, so we'll do some trees. Okay, it's trees. This is woods. All right. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change that. Not what it was, but the design of woods. Just make it a little easier for me to point out. Just one big tree. There we go. That makes more sense. All right, explore die. What do we find in these woods? We find nothing. Okay, we're gonna go northeast to explore this hex. As far as terrain, it is the same, so it's woods. There we go. And then explore die will be 4. We find an omen. Okay, so the omen's right down here. 6, an NPC. We find an NPC finally. Okay, so the NPCs are going to be in the backside, I think. So this will be a character we will have to talk to in notes. So let's build this NPC. Okay, so an NPC race. Let's figure out what this race will be. Okay, he's going to be a gnome. Okay, and the type, he is a adventurer like us. So he's a gnome adventurer. Let's write that down. He's a gnome adventurer. Okay, and his I'm not going to be worried about too much of this stuff, but his motivation is important. So let's pick on his male name first. I'll just choose a random list. So his name will be, I like Duncan. Or we have Morton, Duncan, or Rusk. Rusk is actually a cool name. So I'm going to get this a little closer. We're running out of, there we go. That's better. All right, Rusk will be his name. So let me erase this. Rusk, all caps. And then he is a adventurer like us. There he is, and he is a gnome, so quite short in height. Now, his motivation for finding us, what is his current motivation? Let's see. Um, 5. Power. There's something he's doing, and his interest will be 3. Music. Oh, okay, so he is power and music. Maybe we find him, he's just, it's nighttime, so most likely he's camping. So we find this adventurer playing the flute or playing something. He's playing an instrument. He is on a campsite. It's just him. He has one big tent, and he has a campfire sitting on a rock, and he's just playing a flute. So we walk by him. He notices us. He's no threat to us immediately. We say, "Good evening," just passing through, and he is stops playing the music. He says, "Hello, fellow adventurer," and we are exchanging just a couple of glances at each other. He says, "Quite the night, isn't it?" And like Florian says, "Yes, it is quite the night." And he probably will ask us, "What are we doing out here?" And I'm going to say, like I said, I don't have too much backstory on my character. This is just a very narrative light. It's it's a story light test run. So I'm going to say, "Oh, we are looking for uh, a nearby town. We're looking for a town to rest nearby." And I'm going to ask him, "Are there any um, settlements nearby?" So let's roll. This will be well, I don't think it's really worth a check. Let's just roll a dice. Does he know of any settlements nearby? I'm going to say if he's an adventurer, he probably does have a notice on that. So I'll roll likely he does. Okay, ooh, that's a no. He is new to the area. So even with the sum, 4, 5, I rolled a 6 for no. So he shrugs. He says, "Sorry, fellow adventurer, I don't know this place that well. I was going to travel up north first thing in the morning." So, and he recommends we do the same. Now, Florian is thinking, should I settle here or should I continue up north? I've been making some good progress. It's nighttime. There's not a lot of activities going on. So we're going to disembark. We're going to continue on. We thank him for his time briefly, and we're going to part ways. So he says his goodbye. So that's our first NPC on the list we run into. So not really anyone. Rusk is just like I said, adventurer gnome, but not really a threat, not really a nuisance, not really a helpful individual, just kind of a passive character. So we continue north. Again, he was camping in the woods. So we won't mark that down because a camp can move. He can move the next thing in the morning. So it's not really a sight to behold. All right, so let's do new terrain. One. Okay, so it's the same thing. It's a forest. Okay, and then we're gonna roll explore die. One, nothing. So let's go northeast. Terrain die is four. Four is just the same. So this is gonna be a forest, or I'm sorry, a the woods. Okay, explore die. Six, danger. Okay, finally something. So what is the danger going to be? Let's see. One, unnatural entity. That one always catches me off guard. So unnatural. It's going to be this one right here. Let's roll for what it is. Three. It's a skeleton. Okay, there's a skeleton walking around, which I'm thinking maybe there's a graveyard nearby, which also can possibly be there's a town nearby. So there's a skeleton walking around. We have to. Now, is he hostile? It doesn't look like it would be hostile or hazard. But let's do the reaction. There's a table over here for reaction. How does the skeleton react to us? Four. He's wary. Okay, so the skeleton stops. He's just kind of walking around, looks at us. We stop right there. Do we attack him? Just to kind of experiment with combat. We can try that. He's wary. He's not gonna really, is on the edge, basically, of indifference. So he's basically, if we get closer to him, we will cause trouble. So just to have fun with it, this is a skeleton. It's potentially a threat. We pull our sword out, and let's say he does attack. So let's get into combat. Now, combat is fairly simple. It's just going to be, I have an AC of 8. I will roll the red dice for him. I'm going to try not to do any notes, just like a challenging myself. So I'll give him a health of he's a skeleton low range, so let's say he's a 4 AC. So I have to roll I have to roll 5 or higher for damage. So skeleton, we'll track his health though. Let's say I'll check him right down here. Let's say skeleton, HP, and then his AC or his armor is going to be 4. We'll give him 6, a D6 hit die. So let's roll. Okay, we'll roll 2D. We'll roll these 2 dice against. Oh, I'm sorry. He doesn't roll. I go first. Actually, I do have to roll on initiative. Well, I'll roll both. Okay, so he goes first. He was felt threatened. Okay, so he attacks us. He's gonna roll. Let's see, 6, 7, 8. That is going to be nothing against us. Okay. Now we roll against him. Our weapon of choice is going to be a short sword 7. So he takes. That's a difference from 4. So 5, 6, 7. That's 3 damage. So now he's down to 3. One thing I've been pondering about this game was combining the health with the difficulty class, which is based on a GD20 one-page RPG that I've talked about in the past. So basically, his difficulty will go down with the damage. So the health essentially is the difficulty. And this game is 2 to 12. Essentially, a boss would be 10 or higher, a captain would be 6 or higher, a low level would be 4 to 6. That's how I've been kind of perceiving it. So we can try that in the next one if this video continues any longer. Okay, so now he attacks. Oh, 8 again. So again, it's a no, it's a block. We attack him, and that's going to be a hit against his AC. So that's a 6. That's a damage difference of 2. He's down to his last skeleton, his last bone. 1. Okay, so now it's his turn to attack. 7, no go. Okay, now it's our turn, hopefully to finish him off. Yep, that's obviously going to be a kill. So the skeleton falls apart. Like in Super Mario Brothers, you step on them, it's collapses the ground. And however, this gives us an idea that there is a graveyard nearby, and most likely we want to stay away from that graveyard. But let's do one more tile before I end the video because this has been very fun and it's an experiment, so this does indeed have some value to it. I'm going to do an explore. We're right here, I think. So I'm going to travel north. If I'm not mistaken, that's where I left off. One is going to be the same, so it's going to be forest, and then explore die three, nothing. Okay, so we left off right here. I'm going to highlight where we left off. There we go. Okay, well that's this episode of Casuals. Will I continue this? I really don't know. If I feel like coming back to this, this is a real true one shot. It won't go for on. Well, I'm saying that now, but obviously this is my thought was a one shot. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was just an experiment with this perplexing ruins. I think I said earlier. The creator of this perplexing ruins. Yep, and this method of this kind of all-in-one kit Oracle system. So, oh, and let's add an experience for the killing the skeleton. There you go. All right. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time on 830 RPG.